Under the waning glow of an amber sunset, Ethan Mendoza arrived at the transformed estate with a heavy heart and unwavering determination. His sleek midnight blue car glided smoothly through the ornate iron gates of a mansion situated in the prestigious district of Westwood, a far cry from the familiar neighborhoods of his past. The modern facade, with its striking reinterpretation of classical design, belied the painful memories embedded within its walls. For nearly a year, Ethan had avoided this place, burdened by the lingering echoes of a bitter divorce from Isabel, his former wife. Tonight, however, he returned solely for one reason: to be reunited with his cherished daughter Luna, whose gentle spirit and innocent smile had always been his guiding light. As he stepped out of his vehicle, his piercing green eyes, framed by streaks of silver, reflected both sorrow and resolve. Each deliberate step toward the entrance resonated with the weight of lost time and unhealed wounds. The meticulously landscaped gardens and vibrant flower beds, carefully arranged by unseen hands, stood as a stark contrast to the tumultuous emotions that churned within him. With a deep, steadying breath, Ethan approached the door, ready to confront the painful present firmly. Inside the grand foyer, the transformation of the home was immediately evident. Gone were the familiar portraits that once adorned the walls. Instead, abstract artworks now lent a modern air to the space. A lingering, masculine aroma replaced the gentle floral scent that Isabel had favored, signaling a deliberate shift in style. At the threshold stood Anthony, the loyal butler who had served the family for countless years. With an expression of genuine warmth and slight apprehension, he greeted Ethan, exclaiming, "Mr. Mendoza, what a pleasant surprise to see you after all this time." Ethan offered a measured smile in return, his voice soft yet firm as he replied, "Good evening, Anthony. I have come to see Luna." Anthony's eyes betrayed a note of concern before he confirmed, "Yes, sir, little Luna is at home. Please, come in." As they proceeded through the marble-tiled corridor, the alterations in decor and ambiance heightened Ethan's sense of displacement. Each step echoed with memories of laughter and sorrow, intensifying the bittersweet realization that time had irrevocably changed the space he once knew. The elegance of the surroundings could not mask the underlying tension that permeated every corner of the familiar residence. Following a soft, heart-wrenching cry that echoed down the pristine marble hallway, Ethan found himself drawn toward the source of the sorrowful sound. As he turned a corner into the spacious kitchen, his heart clenched at the sight before him. There, on the cool tiled floor, knelt Luna, his beloved 7-year-old daughter. With a small brush clutched in her tiny hand, she was scrubbing the floor with a determined yet forlorn expression. Tears streamed silently down her delicate cheeks, and her eyes, filled with confusion and despair, mirrored a pain far beyond her tender years. For a long, agonizing moment, Ethan stood frozen, overwhelmed by the stark contrast between the innocence of childhood and the burdens unjustly placed upon her. Gently, he called out her name in a voice, and upon hearing it, Luna's tearful gaze lifted in hesitant recognition. "Daddy," she whispered as she dropped the brush to the floor. In emotion, Ethan gathered her into his arms, holding her as if to shield her from a harsh world. With a soft, reassuring tone, he murmured promises of safety and comfort, while his own heart ached with a father's profound sorrow and fierce protectiveness. Emerging from the kitchen with Luna cradled in his arms, Ethan stepped into the living room, where a stark scene of casual indifference awaited him. Reclining on a sofa with styled blonde hair and manicured nails, Isabel laughed at a redefined maid by Derek, whose build and complexion lent him an air of confident bravado. Derek positioned himself between Isabel and Ethan, his stance protective yet confrontational. The light sounds of laughter mingled with the clink of a wineglass, creating a backdrop to the brewing storm. Ethan's voice, with anger and sorrow, cut through the relaxed ambiance as he declared, "I came here for Luna, and what I witnessed in the kitchen has disturbed me deeply." Isabel's smile faltered, and she attempted to explain that Luna was cleaning up after spilling juice, a task intended to instill responsibility. "She must learn that her actions have consequences," she asserted. But Ethan's eyes burned with indignation as he countered, "At 7 years old, she should be laughing and playing, not burdened with chores while you and Derek indulge in idle merriment." The room fell silent, tension mounting profoundly as each word amplified the rift that had long divided their lives. Despite the painful confrontation, Ethan gathered Luna in his arms and resolved to leave the residence immediately. Ignoring Isabel's desperate protests and echoing shouts, he strode toward the exit with unwavering purpose. Anthony, ever dutiful, promptly provided a small suitcase containing a few essential items for the young girl. Outside, the cool night air offered a stark contrast to the heated emotions left behind in the mansion. As Ethan's sleek car merged onto the quiet streets of Westwood, the city lights transformed into blurred streaks of hope and sorrow. The journey home was a solemn passage, filled with a blend of grief and determined resolve. Luna, still trembling from the ordeal, nestled quietly in the back seat as Ethan securely fastened her seatbelt. A brief call with his trusted lawyer confirmed that emergency custody proceedings would soon commence, a vital step to ensure his daughter's safety. At last, he arrived at his elegant penthouse in the upscale district of Bel Air. Gently waking Luna, he murmured, "We are home, my dear," and led her into a modest guest room awaiting transformation. There, he vowed to build a sanctuary where laughter would replace tears, and hope would bloom anew with enduring promise. Ethan gently tucked his sleeping daughter into the freshly made bed, her soft whispers of "Okay, Daddy" barely audible as she nestled into the crisp, inviting sheets. He lingered for several tender minutes, planting delicate kisses on her forehead and watching over her peaceful slumber with a father's silent vigil. The early morning light, a muted glow filtering through the curtains of his penthouse in Bel Air Heights, a reimagined realm of refined elegance, cast gentle shadows across the room, giving it an almost ethereal quality. As he stepped quietly into the corridor, the door to her room left ajar. Ethan let out a long, burdened sigh. The events of the day pressed down on him like an avalanche of regret and apprehension. In a state of deep introspection, he questioned every decision he had made. Had he truly taken his daughter from her mother's grand estate in Riverview Manor without any legal preparation or proper authorization? The mere thought of it sent a shiver down his spine, and the uncertainty gnawed at him as persistently as the ticking of the clock in the silent hallway. Seeking solace from the overwhelming weight of his actions, Ethan made his way into the spacious living area, where modern art and carefully curated furnishings gave the space an air of refined detachment. He poured himself a generous measure of aged amber whiskey into a glass. The fiery liquid seared his throat as it slid down, its burn barely registering against the storm of thoughts whirling through his mind. Every sip served as a brief respite, a distraction from the relentless replay of last night's events. Luna's tear-stained cheeks, her hesitant whisper of "Daddy," and the image of her vulnerable form, left behind in a place she should have been joyous. The sudden buzz of his cell phone shattered his contemplative silence, jolting him back to the present. A terse message from Isabel, his ex-wife, flashed on the screen, its words laced with anger and urgency. "How could you do this, Ethan? Bring Luna back now, or I'll call the police." The digital reprimand sparked a fresh surge of fury in his chest, but Ethan chose restraint over retaliation. In that heated moment, any immediate response would have only worsened an already precarious situation. With a determined swipe, he blocked her number, silently vowing to address the matter with a clear mind once the dust settled and his trusted lawyer, Daniel, had weighed in. For the next several hours, Ethan remained in a state of restless alertness. Every half hour he would rise from his leather armchair to check on Luna's room, peeking in to ensure that her slumber remained undisturbed. A lingering fear haunted him, the possibility that Isabel's threats might materialize at any moment with the arrival of the authorities. In the solitude of his high-rise apartment, as the night stretched into the early hours of dawn, he found himself unable to sleep. At around 5 in the morning, resolve replaced despair, and he decided to redirect his energy towards something tangible. With a heavy yet purposeful heart, Ethan reached for his phone and called his personal assistant, Nina. Her sleepy voice on the other end of the line was quickly replaced by concern as she sensed the urgency in his tone. "Mr. Mendoza, did something happen?" she inquired, her voice laced with genuine worry. "Yes," Ethan replied, his tone firm despite the underlying vulnerability. "My daughter Luna is with me now, and for the foreseeable future, she will be staying here." He then outlined his immediate needs. All his appointments for today and tomorrow were to be canceled, and his schedule was to be reorganized for the coming weeks to afford him the flexibility required during this tumultuous period. There was a brief pause as Nina absorbed the gravity of the situation. "Understood, sir. Is there anything else you require?" she asked. "Yes," Ethan responded, his voice imbued with a rare tenderness. "I need you to hire a specialist in children's interior design. Transform the guest room into a vibrant princess room by the end of today. Money is no object, as long as it's perfect for when Luna wakes." Nina's confident reply reassured him. "It will be done, Mr. Mendoza." After ending the call, Ethan felt a small measure of relief. At least some of the day's burdens were now being managed. The ensuing hours were a whirlwind of activity. Phone calls, scheduling adjustments, and a flurry of directives from Nina filled his time until, by 8 in the morning, he found himself in the sleek modern office of his lawyer Daniel in downtown San Avalon, a city reimagined as the epitome of sophisticated urban living. In Daniel's office, Ethan recounted every detail of the previous night, his voice a mixture of urgency and remorse. Daniel listened intently, his expression composed yet shadowed with concern. After a prolonged silence, he broke the tension. "Ethan, what you did was incredibly risky. Legally, Isabel holds primary custody of Luna. She could very well accuse you of kidnapping." The words struck Ethan like a physical blow. "Kidnapping? But I am her father," he protested weakly. Daniel's voice softened as he reassured him. "I know, and that is why we must proceed quickly. Given the circumstances, we can argue that you acted in Luna's best interest. I'll file for emergency custody, alleging negligence and potential mistreatment on her part." Ethan's mind raced with the implications, and when he hesitantly inquired about the matter of child support, a monthly sum he had reliably provided to Isabel, Daniel cautioned, "We might request a temporary suspension, but be warned, cutting off those funds could provoke Isabel to retaliate even more aggressively." Absorbing every word, Ethan knew that his life was on the precipice of a fierce legal battle. Yet, in that moment, his only priority was his daughter's safety. After leaving Daniel's office, Ethan returned to his apartment, where the transformation of his home had already begun in earnest. A team of decorators, coordinated meticulously by Nina, was hard at work turning the sterile guest room into a vibrant, child-friendly haven. Bright, cheerful furniture, colorful fabrics, and a variety of toys were being arranged with precise care. Amidst the controlled chaos, Nina greeted him with a professional smile. "The room will be ready by this afternoon, and I've arranged for a new wardrobe and all essential items for Miss Luna," she informed him. "Thank you, Nina," Ethan said sincerely, his gratitude shining through. With the house slowly morphing into a sanctuary, Ethan decided to make an important detour before retrieving Luna from school. Nina had organized an emergency transfer for him, and he found himself at a modern shopping complex in the heart of the city, where he entered a lively toy store. Standing amidst an array of dolls and playthings, Ethan felt a pang of regret for the time lost from Luna's life. A kind saleswoman approached him, offering assistance. After explaining his predicament, she assured him, "We'll find something perfect for your daughter." An hour later, laden with several shopping bags filled with dolls, educational games, art kits, and children's books, he left the store, his determination to make up for lost time renewed. At school, as the bell rang and children spilled out into the courtyard of Maple Grove Elementary, a quaint, reimagined school building, Ethan's heart pounded in anticipation. He finally spotted Luna among the throng of young students. Although she appeared small and somewhat timid amid the bustle, the moment their eyes met, her face lit up with a radiant smile. "Daddy!" she cried, dashing toward him. Ethan knelt to embrace her, the impact of her tight hug nearly overwhelming him with emotion. "Hi, Princess," he murmured, holding her close. "Are you okay?" she replied with a nod, still clinging to him. "Are we going home now?" she asked in a small, uncertain voice. Ethan hesitated briefly, wondering how best to explain the complexities of their situation. "Remember, sweetheart, you'll be staying with me for a while. Our new home is my apartment for now," he gently explained, softening his tone to mirror her innocence. "Really? Like a sleepover?" she inquired with wide, hopeful eyes. Ethan smiled, replying, "Yes, something just like that, only for a longer time, and I have a big surprise waiting for you at home." Her eyes sparkled with anticipation, and they made their way back to the apartment with renewed hope. The following days unfolded like pages from an emotional diary, a mixture of quiet moments and bustling activity. Ethan's apartment, once a solitary retreat for a busy executive, had transformed into a lively, nurturing space that resonated with the playful energy of a child. The Princess Room, a dream realized through Nina's meticulous efforts, quickly became Luna's favorite place in the world. When she first stepped into the room, with its walls painted in soft hues of lavender and blush, a castle-shaped bed, and shelves brimming with books and toys, she gasped in delight. "Is all this for me, Daddy?" she asked, barely containing her excitement. "All yours, Princess," Ethan replied, his voice thick with emotion. As Luna explored her new kingdom with wide-eyed wonder, she paused at a vanity adorned with an array of sparkling tiaras. With a mixture of hesitation and hope, she asked, "Daddy, can I keep all of these? And will you never make me clean if I spill something?" Ethan knelt beside her, taking her tiny hands in his. "My love, listen carefully. Here, you will never have to do anything like that. Accidents are part of life, but your only job is to be a child. Play, learn, and be happy." Luna's watery eyes met his, and then, with unbridled affection, she wrapped her arms around him. "I love you, Daddy," she whispered. Overwhelmed, Ethan could only respond, "I love you too, my princess, more than anything in this world." As weeks turned into a new routine, Ethan rearranged his work commitments, delegating responsibilities and working remotely whenever possible. Mornings became devoted to school runs and quiet breakfasts, while afternoons were spent on homework and playful adventures. Yet, the legal conflict with Isabel simmered in the background. Daniel had secured a temporary custody order in Ethan's favor by highlighting allegations of neglect, but Isabel was fighting back fiercely. One afternoon, while Luna attended ballet classes at a reimagined studio in Riverdale, Ethan received a tense call from Daniel. "Ethan, we have a problem. Isabel is counterattacking. She claims you're a workaholic, emotionally distant, and unable to provide a stable home for Luna." Ethan's stomach churned with disbelief. "That's absurd. I've completely changed my life for her," he protested. Daniel cautioned him. "We need concrete evidence of this transformation for the judge to see that your home is stable and nurturing." With a heavy heart, Ethan returned to his window, gazing out at the sprawling vista of San Avalon, a view that once filled him with pride, but now seemed cold and indifferent. Determined to prioritize his daughter's well-being, he immediately called Nina. "Cancel all my appointments for the next 2 weeks. I'm taking a vacation to be with Luna," he instructed firmly. After a brief moment of surprise on the other end, Nina responded with unwavering professionalism. "Of course, Mr. Mendoza. I'll handle everything." And so, with a resolute heart and a promise to protect the light of his life, Ethan embraced the unpredictable future ahead, knowing that every sacrifice he made was for the sake of the daughter who meant everything to him. Ethan's day began with a decisive conversation with his trusted assistant Nina. "Should I reschedule the meetings or delegate them?" he asked, his tone resolute, yet tinged with uncertainty. Nina replied calmly, "Delegate what you can, the rest will be rescheduled for 3 weeks from now." Grateful for her unwavering support, Ethan murmured, "Nina, thank you for everything." The following 2 weeks proved to be nothing short of transformative. Ethan and his cherished daughter Luna embarked on a journey of reconnection and discovery, one that would reshape the contours of their lives. They visited a vibrant local zoo, strolled through the enchanting corridors of an amusement park, enjoyed leisurely picnics at Heritage Park, and even took a spontaneous trip to the picturesque coastal town of Seabright. Each outing was imbued with wonder and introspection, as they forged new memories that began to heal the wounds of the past. One sunny afternoon at the beach, while the duo meticulously crafted an elaborate sandcastle, Luna's tender voice broke the rhythm of the gentle crashing waves. "Daddy, why doesn't Mommy call me?" she asked, her wide, innocent eyes reflecting both curiosity and a hint of sadness. The unexpected question caught Ethan off guard. Although he had blocked Isabel's calls on his own cell phone, he had not considered that she might not be reaching out directly to their daughter. After a pause heavy with unspoken emotion, he answered softly, "I don't know, my love, but I'm sure she thinks about you every day." For a moment, Luna fell silent as she carefully molded a sand tower with her tiny hands. Then, in a low, wistful voice, she confessed, "I miss her sometimes, but I like staying with you more, Daddy." The simplicity and honesty of her words struck Ethan deeply. A lump formed in his throat as he reached out to gently reassure her. "Luna, your mother loves you very much, and it's perfectly natural to miss her. When we get back to San Avalon, how about we give her a call?" The idea of arranging a civilized meeting with Isabel was daunting, yet Ethan was determined not to disappoint his daughter. "Of course, Princess. We'll see what we can do," he promised, holding her close as the tide gently lapped at their feet. Back in San Avalon, life began to settle into an unexpected, comforting routine. Ethan discovered immense joy in the simplest moments, assisting Luna with her homework, reading enchanting stories to her at bedtime, and preparing delightful breakfasts together on relaxed weekends. A month after welcoming Luna into his care, Ethan received a call from his trusted lawyer, Daniel. "I have good news," Daniel announced, his voice resonating with cautious optimism. "The judge was very impressed with the changes you've made, and Luna's psychological evaluations were exceptionally positive." A surge of relief mingled with lingering guilt as Daniel continued. "The court is inclined to grant you primary custody, with Isabel receiving supervised visitation." Hesitantly, Ethan asked, "And how did Isabel respond to this?" After a moment of silence, Daniel replied, "Not very well, to be honest. She's requested to speak with you, Ethan. She wants to try to reach an agreement outside the courtroom." The thought of facing Isabel again stirred a tumultuous mix of anxiety and determination within him. "All right," he consented. "Let's arrange a meeting on neutral ground. Perhaps at my office." 2 days later, Ethan found himself sitting across from Isabel for the first time since that tumultuous night when he had taken Luna. The encounter was fraught with vulnerability. The once elegant and self-assured woman now bore the damnures of sleepless nights. Deep, dark circles under her eyes, her hair lacking its former luster, and a posture tinged with defeat. "How are you?" Isabel asked softly, her voice trembling with regret. "And fine," she managed, her eyes glistening with unshed tears as she whispered, "I miss you." Overwhelmed by emotion, she continued, "I messed everything up, didn't I? I was a terrible mother." Ethan's heart ached for her as he replied gently, "We all make mistakes, Isabel. What matters is what we do moving forward." They talked for hours, unearthing old hurts, admitting past mistakes, and slowly beginning to build a bridge of understanding. Ultimately, they reached a heartfelt agreement. Primary custody would remain with Ethan, while Isabel would have regular, initially supervised visits. With a trembling resolve, Isabel promised, "I'm going to change, Ethan. For Luna, I will strive to be the mother she deserves." Ethan nodded, sincerely hoping her words would transform into lasting actions. That evening, as Ethan tucked Luna into bed, she surprised him with a question that cut to the core of his hopes. "Daddy, are we going to be a family again someday?" He gently stroked her soft hair and replied thoughtfully, "We already are a family, my love. It's just you, me, and yes, your mother too. Even if our family looks a little different now, families come in all shapes and sizes, as long as they are filled with love." Luna's eyes softened, and a gentle smile graced her face as she whispered, "I like our family, Daddy." Watching his daughter drift into peaceful sleep, Ethan reflected on the incredible journey they had embarked upon, realizing that despite the uncertainty ahead, he was exactly where he was meant to be. In that transformative period, Ethan made a silent promise to himself and to Luna. No matter what the future held, her love and well-being would always come first. With one last tender kiss on her forehead, he left the room, the door left ajar as a symbol of hope and openness that now defined their home. The once impersonal apartment was now a vibrant sanctuary, adorned with Luna's colorful drawings, scattered toys, and a warm, inviting aroma. A true home for a blossoming family. Ethan smiled as he prepared for bed, genuinely looking forward to the promise of a new tomorrow. Over the ensuing months, a new dynamic emerged in their lives, though not without its share of challenges. Ethan juggled his roles as a devoted single father, a visionary CEO of a flourishing company, and an ex-husband navigating the complexities of co-parenting. One Wednesday morning, the blare of the alarm and the acrid smell of something burning jolted him awake. Racing to the kitchen, he found Luna precariously standing on a stool, attempting to make pancakes. "Luna, what are you doing?" he exclaimed, quickly turning off the stove. Wide-eyed and filled with a mixture of guilt and determination, Luna admitted, "I just wanted to make breakfast for you, Daddy, as a surprise." Touched by her gesture yet aware of the dangers, Ethan knelt beside her and said softly, "Thank you, my love. It's very sweet, but remember, we must never use the stove alone. It's too dangerous." Tears welled up in her eyes as she whispered, "I'm sorry, Daddy. I just wanted to help because you always look so tired in the morning." Moved by her sincerity, Ethan pulled her into a warm embrace and proposed, "How about we make breakfast together? I'll teach you how to make safe, delicious pancakes." Her face lit up with a joyful smile, and for the next half hour, they shared laughter and created a delightful, albeit messy, memory in the kitchen. Later that day, Ethan informed his executive team of his slight delay, emphasizing his renewed commitment to his family. At a crucial meeting, he addressed his team candidly, "Ladies and gentlemen, over the past few months I have strived to balance our usual work pace while caring for my daughter full-time. I've come to realize that this isn't sustainable for either me or the company. I am not abandoning my responsibilities, but I must delegate more and trust in your abilities. I will focus on strategic decisions and maintain a more flexible schedule." In the ensuing weeks, the company flourished under shared leadership, and Ethan found himself more present and less burdened at home. Amidst these changes, Isabel's supervised visits commenced, bringing a new yet challenging dynamic to their family. The first visit was danieled by tension. In a serene park in San Avalon, Luna clung to Ethan's hand, asking in a small voice, "You're going to stay here with me, right, Daddy?" Reassuring her with a confident smile, Ethan said, "Of course, Princess. I'm here with you." When Isabel arrived, her appearance was simpler, her elaborate makeup replaced by natural vulnerability. With eyes that sparkled at the sight of her daughter, she softly greeted, "Hi, my love." After an emotional 2-hour visit filled with moments of joy and hesitance, Isabel approached Ethan quietly, saying, "Thank you for taking such good care of her and for giving me this chance." Ethan, feeling a complex blend of hope and responsibility, responded, "She needs both of us, Isabel. I truly hope we can make this work." As the visits continued, Luna gradually grew more comfortable with her mother, even suggesting that they have a picnic together, a small, hopeful gesture that symbolized the possibility of healing. Through these evolving experiences, Ethan embraced his roles with unwavering determination. Balancing his duties as a caring father, innovative CEO, and cooperative ex-husband, he ensured that Luna's happiness remained his utmost priority. Amidst the challenges of rebuilding a fragmented family, a resilient hope took root. A hope that love, commitment, and understanding would guide them on this intricate journey together. Ethan's days had become a vivid tapestry of challenges and small victories, a daily test of endurance and heart. There were moments when he questioned every decision, wondering if he was doing enough or choosing the right path for both himself and his beloved daughter, Luna. Yet, amid the uncertainties, there were countless moments that restored his faith in their journey. He recalled the simple joy of seeing Luna sprint into his open arms after school, her eyes sparkling with the excitement of sharing news about a new friend or a lesson learned. There were also the quiet evenings on the worn, comfortable couch where they would cuddle up together, lost in the magic of bedtime stories, until Luna's soft, contented breathing lulled her into peaceful slumber, her delicate weight a reassuring presence in his arms. One particular evening, as Ethan tidied up the modern sunlit kitchen of his penthouse in Bel Air Heights, he was drawn to the gentle sound of humming emanating from Luna's room. Curiosity led him to quietly approach her door, where he found her immersed in a world of imagination. In her small, brightly decorated room, Luna was orchestrating a family scene with her cherished dolls. "And now Daddy and Mommy are going to hug," he declared, carefully bringing together 2 dolls with the innocence of a child who believed in the magic of togetherness, even if those figures belonged to 2 separate worlds. Overwhelmed by the tender sincerity of the moment, Ethan felt tears begin to well in his eyes. In that delicate scene, he recognized that despite the many trials and uncertainties, their lives were gradually aligning on the right path. Luna was happy, safe, and deeply loved, and in the end, that was all that truly mattered. Later that night, lying alone in the calm solitude of his bedroom, Ethan allowed himself to reflect on the redaniable journey they had undertaken over the past few months. He acknowledged that the road ahead was still long and fraught with challenges, Yet for the first time in years, he felt an inner peace and certainty about his purpose. With a gentle smile playing on his lips, he drifted into sleep, filled with hope for the new adventures that each day promised. The seasons, too, seemed to echo the changes in his life. As autumn gently arrived in San Avalon, the city's skyline bathed in soft golden hues. The trees of Heritage Park blazed in shades of red and amber. One sunny Saturday, Ethan and Luna strolled hand in hand along the park's winding paths, a meticulously packed picnic basket in tow. Luna's voice, full of youthful curiosity, broke the comfortable silence. "Daddy, do you think Mom has arrived yet?" she asked, her eyes scanning the lively scene with a trace of anxiety. Ethan, managing his own apprehension behind a warm smile, replied, "Probably. Your mother has always been punctual." Although the thought of their first family picnic together filled him with mixed emotions, he recognized it as a chance to remind Luna that, despite all the changes, they could still forge a semblance of family unity, even if it took a different shape than before. Soon enough, they spotted Isabel sitting on a weathered wooden bench near a sparkling lake at Seabright Park. She offered a timid wave, and with joyous abandon, Luna ran toward her, exclaiming, "Mommy!" as she leaped into Isabel's waiting arms. Ethan stood back, absorbing the scene with a complex mixture of satisfaction and lingering sorrow. The sight of Luna's radiant smile brought him immense relief, yet the presence of Isabel stirred memories of past hurts and unresolved pain. "Hi, Ethan," Isabel greeted softly as she rose from the bench, still holding Luna close. "Hello, Isabel," Ethan replied, forcing a polite smile despite the tumult of emotions beneath the surface. The trio then moved to a quiet, secluded spot under a grand oak tree, where they spread out a colorful picnic blanket on the freshly cut grass. Almost immediately, Luna eagerly began unloading the contents of the basket, chattering excitedly about the sandwiches her daddy had helped her prepare. "Daddy, let me cut the tomatoes," she insisted, brandishing a small plastic knife with all the pride of a little chef. Isabel laughed warmly, exchanging a look of pleasant surprise with Ethan. "It looks like you've become quite the cook," she teased, her tone both affectionate and slightly amused. Ethan shrugged, his smile growing as he admitted, "I had to learn something. After all, we couldn't rely on takeout forever." Throughout the afternoon, conversation flowed easily between them. They discussed Luna's progress at school, her newly made friends, and her enthusiastic ventures into ballet classes. Ethan noticed how Isabel's demeanor had softened. She asked thoughtful questions and listened intently to every excited word from Luna, who recounted her day with an earnest delight. At one point, while Luna dashed off to feed the ducks at a nearby pond, Isabel turned to Ethan with an unexpectedly serious expression. "Ethan, I just wanted to thank you," she began quietly, her voice tinged with remorse. "I know I haven't been the best mother, and you had every reason to push me away. But you're giving me a chance to be part of her life again." Ethan paused, watching Luna play in the distance. "I'm not doing this for you, Isabel," he replied gently. "I'm doing it for her. Luna deserves to have both her parents in her life, as long as it's healthy for her." Isabel's eyes glistened with unshed tears as she responded, "I understand, and I promise I won't waste this chance. I'm even in therapy, trying to understand my past mistakes and change for the better." The sincerity in her voice took Ethan by surprise. The woman before him was no longer the distant figure of the past, but someone determined to heal and grow. The remainder of the afternoon passed in a serene, almost magical haze. Luna's laughter echoed as she played frisbee with both her parents, and for a fleeting moment, it seemed as though the family they once were could re-emerge. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the sky in breathtaking shades of orange and pink, it was time to depart. Luna, now utterly exhausted yet blissfully content, fell asleep in Ethan's arms as they slowly walked back to the car. "He looks so peaceful," Isabel murmured softly, stroking her daughter's hair. Ethan could only nod in agreement, feeling that perhaps, in that simple truth, lay the promise of a new beginning. At the parking lot, a tentative conversation unfolded. "Ethan, I know I've asked for a lot already," Isabel began hesitantly. "But do you think we could have more moments like today? They don't have to be every day, but just sometimes." Ethan took a deep breath, torn between the urge to protect Luna fiercely and the undeniable truth that she thrived when both her parents were together. After a moment of silent contemplation, he replied, "Yes, we can try, slowly, and only as much as Luna is comfortable with." Isabel's grateful smile shone with genuine relief and hope. Driving home later, with Luna still peacefully asleep in the back seat, Ethan reflected on the day's events. Though not perfect, it had damned the beginning of something new, a fresh start where the family could evolve and heal together. In the following days, he noticed a subtle, heartening change in Luna's demeanor. The visits with Isabel, once a source of anxiety, now filled her with anticipation and joy. One evening, as Ethan gently tucked Luna into bed, she mustered the courage to ask a question that made his heart flutter with both anxiety and love. "Daddy, do you still love Mommy?" He paused, choosing his words with care before replying. "Luna, love is complicated. Your mother and I did love each other very much once, and in our own way, we'll always care for each other because that love brought you into our lives. But sometimes the love between adults changes. It doesn't diminish, it just transforms." Luna frowned slightly as she absorbed his explanation. "So you're not going to live together again?" she asked quietly. With a sad smile, Ethan replied, "Probably not, my love. But that doesn't mean we can't be a family. Families come in all shapes and sizes, remember?" Satisfied for the moment, Luna nodded and whispered, "I like our family the way it is, especially when we all get together like today at the picnic." Ethan kissed her forehead and promised softly, "I like it too, Princess, and I promise we'll have many more moments like this." In the days that followed, Ethan found himself reflecting not only on his journey as a father but also on the transformation within himself. The hardships he had endured and the emotional battles he fought had taught him to be more compassionate, to embrace second chances, and to cherish every fleeting moment of togetherness. One afternoon, as he worked in his home office, his phone buzzed with a message from Isabel. She wrote, "Luna told me about the ballet recital next week. Can I come watch?" Ethan stared at the message for a long moment. Not long ago, his instinct would have been to decline. But now he replied without hesitation, "Of course, Luna will be happy to have both of us there." When the night of the recital arrived, Ethan and Isabel sat side by side in the audience. Nervous smiles were exchanged as they awaited Luna's performance. When she finally danced gracefully on stage, Ethan felt a surge of overwhelming pride and love that nearly brought him to his knees. In that moment, he caught sight of Isabel's eyes, glistening with tears of joy and remorse, and he realized that despite all the past hurts, their shared love for Luna would always bind them together. The path ahead would undoubtedly be filled with challenges, doubts, and occasional setbacks. Yet as they embraced one another after the recital, a quiet hope blossomed. With Luna nestled between them, both Ethan and Isabel allowed themselves to dream of a future that, while not perfect, was filled with redemption, unconditional love, and the promise of family unity, however unconventional it might be. Ethan's phone call with Derek had been a turning point in his journey of navigating complex adult relationships while fiercely protecting his daughter's well-being. On the other end of the line, Derek had hesitated before finally gathering the courage to propose. It would be possible to talk to her, to explain, to ask for forgiveness. "I know I don't deserve it, but..." Before Derek could finish, Ethan interjected firmly, "Look, I'm not going to lie. The idea doesn't please me. But I'll talk to Luna and see how she feels. If she's willing, we can arrange something. But it will be on my terms, understood?" Derek's voice, heavy with remorse, replied, "Of course, of course." His relief was palpable in his tone as he expressed gratitude. "Thank you, Ethan. Really." After the call, Ethan sat for a long time, watching his daughter Luna with a thoughtful expression. His mind churned with the challenge of explaining to a 7-year-old the intricate and often messy realities of adult relationships. How could he possibly convey the necessity of forgiveness while ensuring that she remained shielded from the full weight of his internal struggles? That night, after dinner, Ethan settled beside Luna on the living room couch, a familiar haven filled with soft cushions and gentle lamplight. "Princess, do you remember Derek, Mom's friend who used to live with us?" he asked softly. Luna's small face scrunched into a slight frown. "I remember. He didn't like me very much," she murmured. Ethan's heart clenched at her words, yet he maintained a tender tone as he continued. Well, he called today. He wants to talk to you, to apologize for the way he treated you. At this, Luna's eyes widened with a mixture of surprise and confusion. He wants to apologize? Why? She inquired, her voice small. Ethan explained gently, because he realized he did something wrong. Sometimes adults make mistakes, and when they recognize that, it's important to try to fix things. For a few long, silent moments, Luna played with the hem of her shirt, her gaze fixed on her father, as if seeking reassurance. Do I have to talk to him? She finally asked in a hesitant whisper. Ethan wrapped his arms around her and reassured her. No, my love, you don't have to do anything you don't want to. The decision is entirely yours. After a pause filled with the quiet rhythm of the night, Luna looked up at him with an earnest gaze and asked, Can I think about it for a little bit? Ethan smiled proudly at her maturity. Of course you can, sweetheart. Take all the time you need. In the days that followed, Ethan observed a change in Luna. She became more reflective and began to ask questions about forgiveness, about how people could change and be given second chances. Ethan answered each query with careful thought, always emphasizing that her feelings were the most important guide in any decision. Then, during breakfast one morning, a revelation came that caught him off guard. Daddy, I think I want to talk to Derek, Luna declared, her voice steady despite her tender age. Ethan nearly choked on his coffee at the unexpected request. Are you sure, princess? He asked, his tone a mix of surprise and concern. Luna nodded solemnly. I am, but can you stay with me? She added softly. Of course, my love, he replied without hesitation. The meeting was arranged for the following weekend at a family cafe near Ethan's apartment, a cozy spot with warm lighting and a gentle hum of conversation that provided a neutral, safe space. Derek arrived first, visibly nervous and fidgeting with his hands as he waited. When Ethan entered, hand in hand with Luna, Derek immediately stood up. Hi, Luna, he greeted in a trembling voice. Thank you for agreeing to see me. Luna, with a small but reassuring smile, looked at her father, who nodded encouragingly before she softly replied, Hi, Uncle Derek. The trio sat down and an awkward silence hung in the air as they each braced for what was to come. Finally, Derek broke the silence, his voice wavering as he began. Luna, I wanted to apologize for the way I treated you, for the things I said and did. It wasn't fair to you. You're an amazing girl, and you didn't deserve any of that. Luna listened intently, her face set in a serious expression far beyond her years. When Derek finished, she looked up and asked with surprising directness, Why did you do those things? Derek glanced briefly at Ethan, who remained silent, allowing him the space to answer, and then continued, I was having problems, Luna. Problems that had nothing to do with you. I was unhappy, and I let that unhappiness affect how I treated people around me, especially you. That was wrong, and I'm truly sorry. For a long moment, the three sat in silence, processing the weight of Derek's confession. Then, in an act that moved both adults profoundly, Luna extended her small hand across the table. Okay, I forgive you, Uncle Derek, she said softly. Derek's eyes filled with tears as he gently shook her hand, whispering, Thank you, Luna. You're much stronger and wiser than I ever was. The rest of the meeting unfolded more lightly than expected. Luna shared stories of her school adventures and her ballet classes, and the tension slowly gave way to moments of laughter and understanding. When it was time to say goodbye, Derek bid them farewell with a genuine smile that hinted at the possibility of redemption. On the drive home, Ethan couldn't help but express his overwhelming pride. Luna, you were amazing today, you know that, right? He said warmly. Luna merely shrugged, a small smile playing on her lips, and replied, I just did what you and Mom always taught me, that it's important to forgive. Ethan felt his eyes well up with tears. His little girl, just 7 years old, was teaching him more about compassion and maturity than he ever imagined. That night, as he tucked Luna into bed, she asked a question that took him by surprise. Daddy, do you think you'll ever forgive Mom completely? Ethan sat on the edge of the bed, carefully choosing his words. You know, Princess, forgiveness can be complicated for adults. Your mother and I are trying to build something new, something better, Not to get back together like before, but to be the best parents we can be for you." Luna's eyes searched his face before she replied softly, "I like that." With a gentle kiss on her forehead, he whispered, "Good night, my little wise one. I love you." As he closed her bedroom door, Ethan reflected on how drastically their lives had changed in recent months. Though the journey had been fraught with challenges, the growth and healing were undeniable. Luna was happy, safe, and blossoming in wisdom and compassion every day. Later, Ethan picked up his phone and, after a moment's hesitation, sent a message to Isabel. "Luna gave a lesson in forgiveness today that made me think. How about we have coffee this week? We have a lot to talk about." Isabel's response was swift and warm. "I'd love to, thank you, Ethan." Sitting on his couch and gazing out at the twinkling city lights, Ethan felt a wave of peace wash over him. The future was still uncertain, but for the first time in a long while he faced it not with fear but with hope, a hope nurtured by the unconditional love of his daughter and the possibility of growth even in the most difficult relationships. As autumn yielded to winter, new challenges emerged, but so did new opportunities for understanding and reconciliation. The coffee invitation to Isabel evolved into a series of heartfelt meetings. In one cold December afternoon, Ethan and Isabel met at a quaint coffee shop in downtown Los Angeles. The steam from their cups formed a delicate curtain between the remnants of the past and the possibilities of the present. "How is it for you?" Isabel asked hesitantly. "All this change, being a full-time dad," Ethan replied, turning the cup in his hands as he contemplated. "It's challenging, rewarding, sometimes scary, but I wouldn't trade it for anything." Isabel's eyes shone with a mix of sorrow and longing as she admitted, "I've missed so much, moments I'll never get back." Ethan's voice softened as he responded, "The past is behind us. What matters is what we do from here on out. Luna loves you and she needs you in her life. But how can you be the mother she deserves after everything?" Isabel's voice trembled. "One day at a time. I'm learning to be present, to listen, to be consistent." Ethan reached out, touching her arm lightly. "We all make mistakes. The important thing is recognizing them and working to be better." In that fragile moment, something shifted. A mutual understanding began to take root, paving the way for a new, imperfect but sincere relationship built for the sake of Luna. Ethan's mind still echoed with Luna's innocent words. "It's like we have two happy homes now instead of one sad one." Those words lingered with him for days, a gentle reminder that even amid chaos and heartbreak, something beautiful had begun to bloom. In the midst of all the challenges and transformations, he realized that they had managed to carve out a positive space from the ruins of a difficult past. One radiant Sunday afternoon, a new family tradition was born. Ethan, accompanied by Luna and Isabel, strolled through Crescent Park, a charming tree-lined oasis in the reimagined city of Solaria. They paused for ice cream, a treat that had quickly become a cherished ritual. As he observed Isabel and Luna laughing together, making silly faces and sharing playful whispers, the sound of their laughter mingled with the cheerful chatter of families, the rustling of leaves, and the sweet songs of birds. In that symphony of life, Ethan experienced an epiphany. Love had not vanished in the wake of their divorce. Rather, it had transformed, evolving into a profound, multifaceted bond. The deep, unwavering love he held for Luna, the renewed affection for Isabel as both a co-parent and a friend, and even the self-love he had cultivated in his journey to become a better father, all of these elements had coalesced into a redefined family. This family was not bound solely by traditional ties, but by mutual respect, affection, and a steadfast commitment to one another. As they walked back home, hand in hand with Luna nestled between them, Ethan exchanged a meaningful look with Isabel. No words were necessary. In that silent exchange lay understanding, gratitude, and a quiet promise to always work together for their daughter's sake. He knew the journey was far from over. More challenges lay ahead, moments of doubt, difficult decisions, and the inevitable hardships of life. Yet he now felt equipped with the inner strength and the tools necessary to face whatever the future might hold. Together, as a redefined family, they were penning a new chapter in their lives. A chapter imbued with hope, growth, and unconditional love. The school year was drawing to a close, and with it came news that would shake the already delicate balance of their newly established routine. Luna's school had announced an exciting week-long educational camp, a trip designed to explore nature, embark on hikes, and even stargaze under the vast, endless sky. The authorization form, clutched tightly in Luna's small hands, brimmed with promise and possibility. "A whole week," Ethan marveled, his eyes lighting up with both expectation and concern. "Yes, Daddy, we're going to learn about nature and the stars," Luna chirped, her voice bubbling with enthusiasm as she pleaded, "Please, can I go?" Ethan exchanged a worried glance with Isabel, who had joined them that very afternoon. It was the first time they would face such a long separation from their daughter since the new family dynamic had taken shape. "Well," Isabel began, her voice laced with apprehension, "we need to talk about this. It's an important decision." Luna's excitement faltered as she looked from one parent to the other, sensing the weight of the discussion ahead. "You don't want me to go, do you?" she asked in a small, disappointed voice. Ethan knelt beside her, coming down to her level, and reassured her softly. "It's not that, Princess. It's just that this will be the first time you're away from home for so long. We need to be sure everything will be all right." Though her eyes betrayed a hint of sadness, Luna nodded in understanding. "Okay, but you'll think about it, right?" she asked hopefully. "Of course we will, my love," Isabel confirmed, as she wrapped her arms around her daughter. "Now, why don't you go play for a bit while Daddy and I discuss it?" Once Luna was out of earshot, Ethan and Isabel sat down to weigh the pros and cons. "Part of me wants to say no, it's too long away and so many things could happen," Isabel admitted, her voice trembling slightly. Ethan sighed. "I know. I worry you might get homesick or even hurt, or maybe you'll find that you can manage without us." Isabel offered a sad smile. "That thought hurts, but perhaps it might be good for you. And maybe for us too." They spent the next hour poring over the information from the school, discussing every detail until they reached a decision. With tentative hearts, they called Luna back into the room. Ethan's tone was serious as he began, "Luna, your mother and I talked a lot about this trip." Her face fell, bracing for disappointment, but then Isabel's smile softened the moment. "And we decided that you can go," she added warmly. Luna's eyes widened in surprise and joy as she whispered, "Really? I can really go?" "Yes, you can," Ethan confirmed gently. "But we have a few conditions. You need to call every day, even if it's just for a few minutes, and you must follow all the rules your teachers and monitors set." With barely contained excitement, Luna readily agreed. The weeks leading up to the trip were a flurry of preparations. Ethan and Isabel worked side by side to ensure that Luna had everything she needed, from the right clothes to a carefully assembled first aid kit. On the night before her departure, while helping Luna pack her favorite items, Ethan felt a lump in his throat. His little girl was growing up, ready to embark on her first big adventure away from home. "Daddy?" Luna called softly, noticing the reflective look on his face. "Are you sad?" He smiled and pulled her into a warm embrace. "Not sad, Princess. Just amazed at how much you've grown. It feels like just yesterday you were tiny enough to fit completely in my arms." With a playful laugh, she replied, "But I still fit in your hug, right?" "Always," Ethan promised, holding her a little tighter. On the morning of the departure, the trio arrived together at Sunridge Academy, where the bus was waiting amid a flurry of anxious parents and excited children. As Luna joined her classmates, Ethan and Isabel lingered, their hearts heavy, yet hopeful. "She'll be all right, won't she?" Isabel asked, her voice trembling slightly. Ethan put his arm around her and said, "She will. Our daughter is strong, smart, and she's going to have a lot of fun." When it was time to say goodbye, Luna ran back into their embrace, hugging Isabel first, then Ethan, and finally both together. "I love you," she whispered, her words muffled by the warmth of their embrace. "We love you too, sweetheart," Isabel replied through tears, and Ethan added, "Have fun, Princess, and remember, we're always here for you." As the bus pulled away, the couple stood side by side, waving until the vehicle rounded the corner. A heavy, reflective silence enveloped them, and after a moment, Isabel asked softly, "How about a coffee? I think we both need it." Ethan could only nod in agreement. The days that followed were a whirlwind of emotions. Luna's daily calls became the highlight of their routine, each call filled with excited chatter about her adventures, new friends, and the fascinating things she was learning. To the surprise of both, Ethan and Isabel found themselves drawn closer together during that week. Dinner conversations about Luna gradually evolved into longer discussions about the past, their present challenges and hopes for the future. "You know," Isabel redangled one evening as they strolled through Crescent Park after dinner, "I never imagined we'd reach this point, being real friends and truly working together for our daughter's good." Ethan looked at her, his curiosity piqued. "What point?" he asked gently. Isabel gestured between them. "This, right here. Two people who once were apart now united for the sake of love and family." Ethan smiled thoughtfully. "I didn't see it coming either, but I'm so glad we're here." On the eve of Luna's return, they decided to host a small welcome-back party at Ethan's apartment. Balloons and banners transformed the space into a festive haven of love and new beginnings. As they decorated, Ethan called out to Isabel, "I just wanted to thank you." "For what?" she asked, coming down from a ladder where she was carefully hanging a banner. "For not giving up? On Luna, on me, and on being the mother she deserves. For giving me a second chance when I least deserved it," Isabel replied, her voice thick with emotion. Ethan was silent for a moment, then said, "We all deserve second chances, Isabel. You've shown that you're willing to change, and look how far we've come." In that moment they embraced. A brief, meaningful hug filled with gratitude, forgiveness, and the promise of a new beginning. When Luna finally arrived, her face lit up at the sight of the decorated room and her parents united in harmony. She ran to them, wrapping them in a tight embrace. "I missed you so much, and it's amazing I have so much to tell." And as they sat together in the living room, listening to her animated recounting of her adventures, Ethan and Isabel exchanged a look of mutual understanding. They had weathered a week of immense growth, not only for Luna, but for themselves. Though the journey was far from over, they now felt capable of facing whatever lay ahead as a family, redefined by love, understanding, and a shared commitment to Luna's happiness. As the evening unfolded, with laughter, heartfelt stories, and the warmth of familial love, Ethan felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for Luna, for Isabel, and for the redanielable journey that had led them here. The future, once shadowed by uncertainty and fear, now shimmered with promise, a new chapter waiting to be written, brimming with love, growth, and endless adventures. Time passed swiftly, and before they knew it, Luna was approaching her 9th birthday. The little girl had grown not only in stature but in maturity and understanding of the world around her. Meanwhile, Ethan and Isabel continued to evolve in their unique co-parenting dynamic, celebrating victories and overcoming challenges together. One Saturday afternoon, while Luna played joyfully with her school friends in the park, Ethan and Isabel sat on a nearby bench, their eyes filled with pride as they watched her. "She's so big now," Isabel commented wistfully. "It seems like just yesterday she struggled to climb that slide." Ethan smiled and replied, "And now she's leading the others in games that only true friends can understand." Suddenly, Isabel's expression turned serious. "Ethan, there's something I need to tell you," she said, her tone laced with both excitement and apprehension. Ethan turned to her, concern etched on his face. "What is it? Did something happen?" Isabel took a deep breath and continued, "I received a job offer. It's an incredible opportunity, but it's in San Aurelia." Ethan's heart skipped a beat at the news, realizing that this new development might once again change the delicate balance they had worked so hard to maintain. Ethan felt as though the very ground had vanished beneath his feet. The news that Isabel might be moving to San Aurelia, a bustling city known for its innovation and creative spirit, shook him to his core. San Francisco? But what about Luna? He wondered aloud, the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Isabel, sensing his distress, hurried to reassure him. I know, she said in a soft, tremulous tone. "That's exactly why I'm telling you all of this. I wouldn't make any decision without speaking to you first. Luna is and always will be our top priority." For a long, silent moment, Ethan processed her words. The thought of Isabel moving away, and perhaps taking Luna with her, was a scenario he had never truly considered. Together, they had painstakingly built a new family dynamic, one that had already overcome so many hardships. Now he was forced to confront the possibility of having to alter that balance once again. "What do you want to do?" he finally asked, his voice laced with uncertainty and care. Isabel exhaled deeply, her eyes reflecting a mix of professional ambition and parental apprehension. "Honestly, I don't know," she admitted, her words heavy with conflicting emotions. "It's an incredible opportunity on a professional level, but the idea of being so far from Luna, of potentially unraveling everything we've built here, I'm not sure I can bear it." Outside, they could hear the joyous laughter of children playing in Crescent Park, and Ethan's heart ached as he watched Luna's carefree laughter echo through the greenery. "We must think about what's best for her," he murmured. "I know," Isabel agreed softly. "That's why I wanted us to discuss every possibility first. Perhaps we can find a solution together." In the days that followed, Ethan and Isabel embarked on several long, difficult conversations. They explored every conceivable option, Isabel refusing the job, Luna spending half the year in each city, or even Ethan considering a transfer to his company's branch in San Aurelia. Every possibility carried its own set of challenges and potential pitfalls. One quiet night, after Luna had fallen asleep and the house lay in a peaceful hush, Ethan hesitated before suggesting an idea that might just change everything. "What if," he began cautiously, "you accepted the job but stayed here instead? Didn't the company offer the possibility of remote work?" His voice was tentative as he awaited her reaction. Isabel's eyes widened with a spark of hope as she considered the proposal. "That could work," she replied slowly, "but then where would I live? Renting a new apartment in San Aurelia would be too expensive, especially when I'd have to maintain 2 households." Ethan's mind raced for a solution. After a moment of reflective silence, he offered, "What if you moved in with me? My apartment here in Bel Air Heights has a spare office that I hardly use. We could convert it into a private space for you." For a few heartbeats, the room was silent as Isabel absorbed his unexpected suggestion. "Are you suggesting I move in here, Ethan? That's crazy," she managed, though her voice trembled not only with shock but also with a dawning possibility. "I know it sounds wild," he replied with a small, hopeful smile. "But think about it. Luna would have both of us around all the time. You'd save on rent, you'd be close enough to work, and we've already shown we can function as a team in parenting. This might be our best chance to keep our family whole." The silence that followed was thick with meaning. Finally, Isabel spoke in a soft, determined tone. "And if it doesn't work out? If we start fighting again?" Ethan reached for her hand, his touch gentle and reassuring. "Then we'll deal with it if and when it happens. But Isabel, look at all we've already overcome. I believe we owe it to Luna to try. Truly try. For her sake." Tears welled in Isabel's eyes as she whispered, "For Luna." And that simple word carried the weight of their shared hope. The decision for Isabel to move into Ethan's apartment was not taken lightly. Over the next several weeks, they devoted themselves to discussing rules, boundaries, and expectations. They even sought the counsel of a family therapist to help navigate this brave new dynamic. Most importantly, they spoke openly with Luna about the impending change. When they explained that she would now have both her parents around all the time, Luna's face lit up with joy and anticipation. "You mean I'll have both of you with me every day?" she asked, her voice bubbling with excitement. Ethan and Isabel exchanged a tender look before Ethan answered, "Yes, princess. But you must understand that this doesn't mean mommy and daddy are getting back together as before. We'll remain a family, just in a different way. Better, as friends, as partners in raising you." Luna nodded wisely, surprising them with the maturity of her response. "I know, Daddy. I like it that way." The move happened gradually. Ethan transformed his seldom-used office into a cozy space for Isabel, and new routines were established with care, as each respected the other's space and privacy. There were moments of tension when old habits surfaced, disagreements over house rules and adjustments in their redefined family dynamics. But for every difficult moment, there were countless moments of joy and unity. Daily family breakfasts became a cherished ritual, and Friday game nights soon turned into sacred moments of togetherness. In this nurturing environment, Luna blossomed, her laughter and curiosity a constant reminder of the love that surrounded her. A few months later, one quiet evening found Ethan on the balcony, gazing out at the illuminated city of Bel Air Heights. He found Isabel there too, lost in thought. "Everything okay?" he asked, joining her at the railing. Isabel's genuine smile brightened her face as she replied, "You know, I never imagined I'd say this, but I'm truly happy here." Ethan nodded in agreement. I'm happy too. It's strange, isn't it, how life works out in ways we could never have predicted. Thank you, Isabel, for giving me and for fighting to be the mother Luna deserves. As if on cue, they heard Luna's sleepy voice calling from inside, and together they replied, "We're coming, love." Later, as they settled back inside, Ethan's thoughts shifted to the mounting pressures at work. During a quiet breakfast, as Isabel and Luna listened, Ethan's face grew somber. "I need to apologize," he began. "I've been distant lately. Work has been overwhelming, but that's no excuse. From now on, I promise to set clear boundaries. When I'm home, I'm here for you completely." Luna's face brightened and she wrapped her arms around him, whispering, "I love you, Daddy." In that moment, the strength of their redefined family shone through, even as challenges loomed large on the horizon. Ethan knew that the future would bring its own set of trials. The lawsuit from a former business partner, accusations of intellectual property theft, and the relentless demands of his career all converged to create a storm he had to weather. As he faced long nights filled with meetings and endless document reviews, Isabel took on the mantle of keeping their home life steady, ensuring that Luna's routines remained intact. One particularly trying night, while Ethan labored in his makeshift office, Luna appeared in her pajamas. "Daddy, are you going to read to me tonight?" she asked softly. Ethan's heart ached with guilt as he realized he had missed several precious reading nights. "I'm sorry, Princess. I'm just so busy," he murmured, but then he paused, summoning the love that anchored him. "Wait, come here," he said, beckoning her to join him. As they read together, Luna's beaming smile reminded him of what truly mattered. The next morning, during breakfast, Ethan made a solemn promise. "I love you, and I promise that work will stay at the office from now on." That day, as he reorganized his schedule and delegated more tasks, Ethan felt a newfound determination. With Isabel's unwavering support, he knew they could face anything together. Their journey, from a fractured, painful past to this unconventional family, built on love, understanding, and shared commitment, had not been easy. Yet, as Luna's 10th birthday approached, a celebration of her growing maturity and the evolution of their family, Ethan felt hopeful. Life was full of challenges, but together, they would continue to write their story with love. Ethan's heart swelled with pride as he listened to the words of encouragement echoing in the courtroom corridors. "You're strong, smart, and you have the truth on your side, and more importantly, you have the two of us supporting you." In that moment, a wave of gratitude and relief washed over him as he embraced Isabel. "Thank you, Isabel," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. "I don't know what I'd do without you two. We're a family, in good times and bad." The day of the trial had finally arrived. To Ethan's surprise, both Isabel and Luna had insisted on accompanying him to the courthouse. When he glanced over at his daughter, her eyes sparkled with the kind of fierce determination only a child could possess, and when he asked her, "But what about school?" she simply shrugged and replied, "One day won't hurt, and you're more important, Daddy." Overwhelmed by her maturity, Ethan's eyes welled with tears as he hugged his little girl tightly before stepping into the building. Inside the courtroom, every minute felt like an eternity. Arguments were presented and witnesses took the stand one after the other, each word measured and deliberate. Ethan sat with his heart pounding in his chest, his lawyer meticulously dismantling the other party's allegations with a precision that left no doubt about the truth. When the judge finally pronounced the decision, absolving Ethan and his company of all charges, a profound sense of relief and vindication swept over him. As they exited the courthouse, both Isabel and Luna enveloped him in enthusiastic, joyful hugs. "I knew you could do it, Daddy," Luna exclaimed, her voice bubbling with exuberance as she bounced up and down in his arms. Isabel's eyes shone with pride as she added, "Congratulations, Ethan, you deserve this victory." That night, the trio celebrated at home with a simple feast of pizza and a family movie night. Nestled together on the couch, Luna's laughter filled the room as she watched the film, her radiant smile a testament to the happiness that now defined their lives. For Ethan, success was no longer measured solely by legal or financial victories. It was embodied in these moments of family bliss. When Luna eventually drifted into a peaceful sleep, Ethan carefully carried her to bed before returning to find Isabel tidying up the remnants of their impromptu celebration. "Thank you," he whispered softly. Isabel looked at him, a trace of confusion in her eyes, and he continued, "For everything. For being here. For being an amazing mother to Luna and for being my friend even after all we've been through." Isabel's smile broadened, filled with warmth and understanding. "We're a team now, Ethan. A family. Different maybe, but still a family," she replied. That night, as Ethan lay in bed reflecting on the incredible journey they had traveled, from the wreckage of a failed marriage to the triumphant formation of a successful partnership built on mutual support and understanding, he acknowledged that the future remained uncertain. More challenges and moments of doubt would undoubtedly come their way. However, he was now more confident than ever that they could face whatever life threw at them, united as the unique and special family they had become. Time passed swiftly, and before they knew it, Luna was approaching her 13th birthday. The once sweet and innocent girl was now transforming into a curious, sometimes challenging teenager, and Ethan and Isabel found themselves navigating uncharted waters. They grappled with balancing Luna's need for independence with their own parental concerns. One Saturday afternoon, as Ethan was immersed in work reports in the living room, Luna timidly approached him, fiddling with the hem of her shirt. "Dad, can I talk to you?" she asked, her voice tinged with nervousness. Instantly, Ethan closed his laptop and gave her his undivided attention. "Of course, Princess, what's on your mind?" Luna took a deep breath, her cheeks coloring as she admitted, "There's a boy in my class, Lucas. He invited me to go to the movies." The revelation hit Ethan like a tidal wave. His heart pounded with a mix of surprise and protective concern. "When did this happen?" he managed to ask, his voice quivering slightly. After a brief pause, Luna continued, "And do you want me to go?" She nodded, her eyes hopeful yet uncertain. Just then, Isabel entered the room, instantly sensing the tension that hung in the air. "What's going on here?" she inquired. Luna repeated her story, and Isabel exchanged a knowing look with Ethan. Sitting down next to her, Isabel began, "I think we need to talk about this, the three of us together." What followed was a mixture of awkward moments, nervous laughter, and earnest discussions about trust, responsibility, and setting clear boundaries. In the end, they reached an agreement. Luna could go to the movies on the condition that Isabel or Ethan would drop her off and pick her up, and that she would keep in regular contact via text messages. As Luna left the room, her face radiated pure joy at having received permission, while Ethan and Isabel shared a look mingled with pride and a bittersweet awareness that their little girl was growing up too fast. "Our little girl is growing up," Isabel said softly. Ethan nodded, feeling a lump in his throat. "Too fast for my liking." In the ensuing weeks, new challenges emerged as Luna began questioning previously accepted rules, demanding more privacy, and spending increasing time with her friends. One night, after a particularly heated argument over her bedtime, Ethan and Isabel found themselves sitting on the balcony, exhausted yet reflective. "This is harder than I imagined," Ethan admitted, rubbing his tired face. Isabel offered a weak smile. "Who would have thought that raising a preteen would be more challenging than restructuring an entire company, huh?" Ethan chuckled, grateful for the moment of levity. "Sometimes I wonder if we're too strict or too lenient," he mused. Isabel replied thoughtfully, "I think all parents wonder that. But you know what? I believe we're doing well. Luna is an amazing girl, intelligent, compassionate, and we're in this together." Her words bolstered his resolve, and together, they embraced the journey of navigating the complexities of parenting a teenager. As the months wore on, Ethan and Isabel's family continued to evolve. The trial had passed, and their collective victory had fortified their bond. They faced life's challenges as a united front, sometimes as co-parents, sometimes as friends, and always with the love for Luna at the core. One crisp autumn morning, as Ethan was reviewing work documents at the kitchen table, Luna burst into the room with an excited gleam in her eyes, waving a piece of paper. "Dad, Mom, guess what?" she exclaimed. Isabel, who had been busy preparing breakfast, turned with a curious smile, eager to share in her daughter's excitement. In that moment, amid the ordinary bustle of family life, the strength of their bond was palpable. Ethan recalled the reassuring words he had once spoken to Luna before the trial. "You're strong, smart, and you have the truth on your side, and more importantly, you have the two of us supporting you." That sentiment had guided them through so much. Now, as he looked at Isabel and Luna, still locked in an emotional embrace after a day full of challenges and victories, he knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together. Their unconventional family might not fit a traditional mold, but it was richer and more resilient than he had ever imagined possible. Standing together on the precipice of a new chapter, Ethan felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and hope. With each passing day, as Luna grew and matured, from the uncertainties of early adolescence to the dawning of her teenage years, they continued to write their family's story with love, forgiveness, and a steadfast commitment to each other. In that shared journey, every trial and every triumph was a testament to the strength of their bond, a bond that would carry them through the uncertainties of tomorrow. Ethan's heart pounded as he listened to the gentle reassurance echo through his mind. You're strong, smart, and you have the truth on your side. And more importantly, you have both of us supporting you. In that moment, as he embraced Isabel, a profound gratitude filled him. Thank you, Isabel, he whispered. I don't know what I'd do without you two. We're a family, in both the good times and the bad. The day of the trial had finally arrived, and to his astonishment, both Isabel and Luna insisted on accompanying him to the courthouse. When he glanced at Luna, her bright eyes shone with determination, and she nonchalantly replied to his concern about missing school. One day won't hurt, Daddy. You matter more. With tears welling in his eyes, Ethan pulled his little girl into a tight embrace before entering the courtroom. The subsequent hours were filled with tension as arguments unfolded and witnesses were called to the stand. Ethan sat there, his heart in his throat, watching his lawyer dismantle the allegations one by one. When the judge finally pronounced the decision, absolving Ethan and his company of all charges, an overwhelming wave of relief swept over him. Exiting the courthouse, he was greeted by joyous hugs from both Isabel and Luna. I knew you could do it, Daddy, Luna exclaimed, bouncing with excitement. Isabel's eyes shone with pride as she congratulated him. Congratulations, Ethan. You truly deserve this victory. That evening, they celebrated at home with a simple meal of pizza and a movie night. With Luna nestled between them on the couch, her laughter filled the room, and Ethan reflected on how his understanding of success had transformed. The courtroom victory was significant, yet the real triumph was this moment of familial bliss. Isabel as his steadfast partner and friend, and Luna's radiant smile affirming that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Later that night, after Luna had fallen asleep, Ethan carried her gently to bed and returned to find Isabel tidying up the remnants of their celebration. Thank you, he murmured softly. Isabel looked up, puzzled, and he continued, for being here, for being an incredible mother to Luna, and for being my friend, even after everything we've been through. Isabel's smile deepened as she replied, we're a team, Ethan. A family, perhaps not conventional, but a family nonetheless. As he lay in bed, Ethan reflected on the long, arduous journey that had brought them from the ruins of a failed marriage to a successful partnership built on mutual respect and love. Although the future remained uncertain, he was confident that together they could face whatever challenges arose. Time flew by, and before they knew it, Luna was on the brink of her 13th birthday. The sweet little girl was blossoming into a curious and sometimes challenging teenager. Ethan and Isabel now found themselves navigating uncharted territory, trying to balance Luna's burgeoning need for independence with their own protective instincts. One Saturday afternoon, while Ethan was engrossed in work reports in the living room, Luna approached him, nervously fidgeting with the hem of her shirt. Dad, can I talk to you? She asked softly. Instantly, Ethan closed his laptop and looked at her with complete attention. Of course, Princess, what's on your mind? Taking a deep breath, Luna confessed. There's a boy in my class, Lucas. He invited me to go to the movies. The revelation struck Ethan like a blow. He felt a mix of surprise and concern. When did this happen? He managed, his voice quivering slightly. After a moment, Luna continued, And do you want me to go? Her cheeks flushed with a gentle pink hue. At that moment, Isabel entered the room, immediately sensing the underlying tension. What's going on? She inquired. Luna explained the situation, and Isabel shared a knowing glance with Ethan. Sitting down beside her, Isabel said, I think we need to discuss this together, the three of us. What followed was a mix of awkward pauses, nervous laughter, and a serious discussion about trust, responsibility, and boundaries. Ultimately, they decided that Luna could go to the movies under strict conditions. Either parent would drop her off and pick her up, and she was required to check in with regular text messages. After hearing this, Luna's face lit up with delight, and when she left the room, Isabel softly redangled, "Our little girl is growing up." Ethan nodded, his heart heavy, with both pride and a tinge of sorrow at how swiftly time was passing. In the weeks that followed, new challenges emerged. Luna began questioning rules she had once accepted without question, seeking more privacy and spending increasing time with her friends. One night, following a particularly intense argument about her bedtime, Ethan and Isabel found themselves sitting side by side on the balcony, their expressions weary yet reflective. "This is harder than I imagined," Ethan admitted, massaging his tired face. Isabel offered a wry smile. Who knew raising a pre-teen would be tougher than restructuring an entire company? Ethan chuckled softly, and they both acknowledged that while they sometimes doubted their methods, their love for Luna made every struggle worthwhile. Then came the day when an unexpected announcement shattered their comfortable routine. As they sat together in their cozy living room, Luna's eyes shone with excitement as she declared, "Dad, pausing for dramatic effect, she continued, "I've been selected for the school's exchange program to France. It's for 3 months next semester. Can I go? Please?" Ethan and Isabel exchanged looks filled with pride and apprehension. This was a huge step, a prospect of their daughter living in another country for an extended period. Ethan steadied his voice. "That's wonderful news, Luna, but it's a big decision. We need to discuss it as a family." Isabel, standing beside him, added, "This is a tremendous opportunity, but we have to consider all the details." Although Luna's initial excitement waned slightly, she nodded, asking, "Can we talk about it tonight, please?" "Of course," Ethan replied. "We'll sit down after dinner and go through everything together." That evening, after their meal, the family gathered in the living room. Luna presented her well-researched case for the exchange program, highlighting the educational benefits, the rich cultural experiences awaiting her, and the positive impact it would have on her future college applications. Ethan marveled at how articulate and mature his daughter had become. It seemed like only yesterday he had found her, vulnerable and crying on a cold kitchen floor, and now she was ready to embark on an international adventure. When she finished her presentation, Isabel raised practical concerns: cost, safety, and the specifics of the host family arrangements. Luna responded confidently, showing that she had anticipated every question. The discussion stretched late into the night as Ethan and Isabel asked questions and expressed their concerns, all of which Luna addressed with thoughtful clarity. As the clock neared midnight, Ethan and Isabel exchanged a look that conveyed years of shared understanding without uttering a word. Finally, Ethan spoke. "All right, Luna, your mother and I have decided that you can go on the exchange program." Before Luna could fully celebrate, Isabel interjected. "However, there are conditions. We need regular check-ins, detailed itineraries when you travel, and you must keep up with your studies." Luna agreed enthusiastically. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." She threw her arms around them in a group hug that encapsulated a blend of pure joy and bittersweet realization. As Ethan held his daughter close, he experienced a complex mix of emotions. Pride for the strong, mature young woman she was becoming, excitement for the adventures that awaited her, and a twinge of sadness at how swiftly his little girl was growing up. Later that night, after Luna had gone to bed, Ethan and Isabel sat on the balcony, sharing a bottle of wine. "Are we doing the right thing?" Isabel asked softly, her voice tinged with worry about letting her daughter go so far away. Ethan took a thoughtful sip before replying, "I believe we are. It's scary, but Luna is ready for this, and we've given her the tools she needs to navigate the world." Isabel rested her head on his shoulder, and together they mused on how far they had come, from the struggles of their past to this moment of shared decision-making and hope. "We've come a long way," Isabel mused, "from where we started to now, making decisions about our daughter's future and international adventures." Ethan chuckled, adding, "I never imagined this scenario when I first brought Luna home that night." They clinked their glasses in a quiet toast to their family and to Luna's upcoming adventure. Ethan felt a profound sense of peace, knowing that although the road ahead was uncertain, they would face every challenge together as a united family. bound not by traditional roles, but by love, mutual respect, and an unwavering commitment to each other's happiness. As the soft glow of dawn slowly crept over the horizon, Isabel rested her head on Ethan's shoulder, a contented smile playing on her lips. "I think we're brave," she whispered, her voice trembling with a mix of exhilaration and quiet determination. "We're starting a new adventure as a family." In that intimate moment, Ethan looked up past little Luna's head and saw his own array of emotions mirrored in Isabel's eyes. Excitement intermingled with nervousness, but most of all, an overwhelming love. It was a love that radiated for their daughter, for the family they had painstakingly built together, and for the uncharted journey that lay ahead. The future was a vast, unpredictable landscape, brimming with challenges, unexpected twists, and new experiences that neither of them could fully foresee. Yet, Ethan felt a deep conviction that no matter what storms might come their way, they would weather them side by side. They had already transformed their past hardships. Pain had evolved into understanding. Old resentments had given way to genuine friendship, and once broken dreams had been rebuilt into a beautiful, unconventional reality that defied all expectation. That night, as the first light of dawn began to paint the sky with hues of soft lavender and warm gold, the trio, Ethan, Isabel, and Luna, gathered in a heartfelt group hug. Their embrace was filled with hope and quiet anticipation for the next chapter of their lives. They were more than just co-parents or friends. They were a family, bonded by unconditional love, mutual respect, and the shared adventure of life. The moment was charged with a promise that no matter where life might lead them, they would remain inseparable. When the time came to board the plane the following morning, their hearts pounded with both trepidation and excitement. They were about to leave behind the familiar comforts of their Los Angeles home and step into a new world in Metro City, a bustling metropolis that would serve as the backdrop for their next chapter. As they stepped onto the plane, Ethan felt a profound realization. This was far more than a physical journey. It was a continuation of the emotional odyssey they had embarked upon years ago, a journey of growth, forgiveness, and unconditional love that had reshaped their lives in ways they could never have imagined. Ethan's thoughts drifted back over the years, the long, winding road from the depths of a bitter divorce to the blossoming of a new, vibrant family dynamic. Each hardship had been a stepping stone, each painful moment a lesson in resilience. Together, they had learned to convert sorrow into empathy and mistrust into mutual support. Now, as he held both Isabel and Luna close, Ethan knew that their story was far from over. In many ways, it felt like it was just beginning, a narrative that would continue to evolve with each new challenge and every small triumph. Later that morning, as the plane ascended into the skies, Isabel's voice broke through the gentle hum of conversation. "I think we're brave," she repeated softly, echoing the sentiment that had so deeply resonated with Ethan the night before. "We're not just embarking on a journey across the country. We're stepping into a future where we face every uncertainty together." Ethan's heart swelled as he looked over at Isabel, appreciating her unwavering courage and the way her eyes sparkled with hope despite the unknown. In that moment, he understood that the foundation they had built was strong enough to withstand any adversity. The days ahead would be filled with new routines and fresh challenges. Adapting to life in Metro City, managing the complexities of work and family, and continuing to nurture Luna as she blossomed into a thoughtful young teenager. Every decision they made, every obstacle they overcame, would be a testament to their commitment to one another. They had weathered storms before, and now they stood on the precipice of a new adventure, their bonds unbreakable. As the plane touched down and they disembarked, Ethan, Isabel, and Luna stepped into a world that buzzed with possibility. Metro City was a vibrant mosaic of cultures, ideas, and dreams, a stark contrast to the familiar rhythms of their old life. Yet, amid the clamor of the bustling streets and the dazzling lights of skyscrapers, they carried with them the quiet strength of their shared history. Their family was a living testament to the power of love and the beauty of transformation. Over the next few days, as they settled into their new surroundings, the challenges of relocation became interwoven with moments of unexpected joy. They explored quaint neighborhoods, discovered cozy cafes, and even found a small park where Luna could play freely. Each day was a lesson in adaptability, a reminder that life's transitions, while daunting, could also open doors to incredible opportunities. One crisp autumn morning, as the trio gathered around a modest breakfast table in their new apartment, Isabel looked at Ethan with a tender smile. "What we have," she said quietly, "is more than I ever imagined possible. Not just as co-parents, but as true partners and friends." Ethan reached across the table, taking her hand in his. "We've built something extraordinary, Isabel," he replied. "Every challenge we've faced has only made us stronger and more connected." Their conversation was interrupted by the joyful chatter of Luna, whose laughter filled the room with light. In that moment, Ethan felt an immense gratitude, not just for the legal victories or the milestones in their careers, but for the genuine, heartfelt love that pulsed through their family. That night, as they prepared to embark on the next leg of their journey, the three of them stood on the balcony of their new home. The city lights of Metro City twinkled below them like a constellation of dreams, and the cool breeze carried whispers of both promise and adventure. "We've come so far," Isabel mused softly, her eyes reflecting a mixture of nostalgia and hope. "From the depths of despair to this beautiful, unexpected beginning." Ethan wrapped his arm around her, pulling her close, while Luna clung to both, her eyes wide with wonder. "We're brave," Luna said in her earnest, youthful voice. "We're starting a new adventure as a family." It was a declaration that resonated deep within Ethan's soul, a reminder that no matter where life took them, they would always be united. With a final lingering group hug, their hearts brimming with hope and anticipation for the future, they stepped forward together. As they boarded the plane to Metro City, Ethan felt an inner calm settle over him. They were not just leaving behind a familiar place, they were embracing the beginning of a new chapter. The journey ahead was filled with uncertainties and challenges, but it was also a journey of emotional growth, a journey that would continue to transform pain into wisdom and sorrow into strength. On that flight, as the cabin lights dimmed and the hum of the engines lulled them into a contemplative silence, Ethan reflected on their incredible evolution. The story of their family, dammeled by resilience and nurtured by unconditional love, was far from over. In fact, in many ways, it was just beginning. Each new experience would add layers to their bond, each challenge would refine their understanding of one another, and every moment of joy would be a testament to the transformative power of love. By the time the plane touched down in Metro City, the uncertainty of the future had given way to a quiet confidence. They had faced countless obstacles together, and now, as they prepared to carve out a new life in this vibrant metropolis, Ethan knew that the true measure of success was not in the accolades or the victories in court, but in the love that bound them, a love that would guide them through every twist and turn, every triumph and trial. And that was the imperfect, yet deeply moving journey of Ethan, Isabel, and little Luna. O nights filled with tears and courtroom battles to quiet mornings full of second chances, they discovered something powerful. Family isn't just where we begin. It's something we can choose to rebuild, with forgiveness, with presence, and with unconditional love. Because maybe we can't go back and change the beginning, but we can always start from now and write a better ending. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Do you believe in forgiveness after a relationship falls apart? Can a family that looks different still be truly happy if love is at the center? Drop your thoughts in the comments, whether it's your story, your feelings, or just a moment that touched you. We're here to listen, and if this story resonated with your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a little hope today. We'll see you in the next story.